the media is said to be the watchdog of the society. On the other hand, the judiciary is that arm saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that the law takes its due course. Now, on this segment today, our focus will be on the media coverage of the judiciary. What has the balance been like? How well has the media covered the judiciary sector? I'm Eunice Johnson, and my guest is Femi Okeowo. He's NTA's judiciary desk correspondent. Actually, he is the head of that desk. You're welcome.
Thank you, Eunice. Nice to be here again.
Yeah, it's good to have you, as always. Now, let's take off on this note. Considering the technical jargons involved in the judiciary terrain, are there special qualifications for one who wants to be a judiciary reporter?
I've always maintained that one does not have to be a lawyer to be a good judiciary reporter. There are people who may disagree based on the performance of some persons. They look at you and say, oh, law, it's because you are a lawyer and all that. And I say, no, you must first be a very good journalist. A journalist that knows how to keep his language simple, knows how to convey issues, complex issues. No doubt, the judiciary is a technical area. And being a lawyer helps you to understand the issues in court. And that goes a long way. If you understand the issues, if you understand the jargons, if you understand the laws that are being quoted in court, it helps rather than you asking what is exactly what are they talking about. So first you have a good understanding of the issues that are being talked about in court or in conferences and all that. But then you must be a good lawyer, reporter after you have understood the issue to convey your report to people. And these are qualities only reporters have. Keeping your language simple. There are people who would want to show that because they are lawyers, they want to give all the jargons. You are not communicating. You must be able to simplify those
precision.
Those words, those technical words in court. You must find grammatical words to replace them.
Break it down.
Yes,
okay.
But then while doing that, you also should not run the risk of insulting the intelligence of the learned people, of the people who are technically in that field. So you are not there to impress anybody. You are there to convey a story. You are there to put it to the larger society that do not understand the technicalities. So you keep it as simple and as brief as possible. So being a lawyer helps you understand it, but then you must be a very sound journalist, reporter, to be able to convey those technicalities in court to the audience. Okay,
so does that mean that any sound journalist who is being assigned to that beat, if he knows what he or she is doing, he could cope in that bit very well?
In fact, some of the best hands, some of the best reporters are not necessarily, judiciary reporters are not necessarily lawyers. One good thing is happening to judiciary reporting in Nigeria now. I can tell you, I don't know, possibly in Abuja and possibly in Lagos, I can hazard a percentage, and I can say at least 20 to 30% of judiciary reporters are now lawyers. That is good for the profession, but then quite a number of others are not lawyers. But it is also important to keep them on that beat for a long time. It's not right to transfer people, make them jump from one beat to the other, because the longer you stay on that beat, the more you understand the issues that are, the more you have contacts, the more you know people, and the more you are able to call on people when you want an issue enumerated. So the longer they stay there, the better for the reporter.
Okay, can the judiciary be influenced by the media? For instance, there are times when the sensationalism in the media, depending on how they cover a particular story, you know, the way people react to it, the way they blow it out, can it influence a judge's judgment or the judiciary generally?
We're all human beings, and sitting down here, I'm not a judge, so I think a judge should be able to answer that question. But because I have studied them, I have watched them in court, it's not supposed to. The position of the populace, public opinion, for instance, is not supposed to sway a judge in his judgment. The focus of the judge is the law. and that is what they do. But sometimes some of them disappoint you. I know that in court it was early in 2017 or late 2016, that a judge went into a verbal brawl with a journalist, a television journalist, who would do his analysis. He would do his political analysis, and the judge will come to court and begin to lambast him and call names. And he would,
in court?
In court. We were all disappointed. We really were all disappointed that the judge felt that he could leave the law and begin to talk about what people say on television. Of course, sometimes some of these issues can be misrepresented on television when they are talking, when even lawyers, when you invite them to come and x-ray some issues, they are going out of what the judge might think. But that is not to give the judge a license to begin to exchange words with a journalist in court. So that is the position. The law is their focus, not public opinion, not what the journalists think, not what they report. If they report anything that is against the position of the court, then they are subject to contempt. They can be brought for contempt proceedings if it's seriously at variance with the position of the... So that is, the law is straight, the judge is straight, he focuses on the law, and if the journalist picks a different angle, indeed, I have always found reporting the court simple, because your loyalty goes to the court, not even to your house style, not to your medium per se. Your loyalty is more to the law and to the court. So if you write a story and the editors or the people who cast the headline want to sensationalize, and they sensationalize not in line with what the court has said, then they are risking contempt proceedings. So you always focus on what the court's position is. Okay.
Why are there no real-time coverages like of court proceedings by the media in Nigeria as it is in other countries, aside cutaways of what happened in the court?
Really, in other countries too, it's not always that you have real-time transmission of court proceedings. You discover that in other climes, they give you graphics of the judge as against the live comment. Possibly you're talking about the O.J. Simpson case and all that. And
exactly.
you remember that the court itself did not allow the jury to be filmed. It is to protect the jury or the judge from external influence. Just the question you have just finished asking. The newspaper, the people's opinion is not supposed to influence evidences being given in court. So it's not as common as you want to think that courts are being filmed live. We too have filmed courts here before, but those are tribunals. When judgments are being given in election tribunals, NTA has been there to film, but we don't film the faces of the judges. It's just to protect them from public harassment.
Okay, and not necessarily that the media is being gagged.
Indeed, let me tell you, they tell you that courts are public places, and there's nobody who can stop a journalist from going into the court, except a specific pronouncement is made, either in case of juvenile trials to protect the juvenile. But no judge can tell a journalist not to enter his court. Court is you see, when criminals are being paraded by the police, for instance, you want to protect the criminal, or the suspect, sorry, let me use the word suspect. You protect them because they've not been convicted or taken to court. But once they go to court, you can show their faces, because this is a public place. So it's not one of those places where you blind out the face of someone in court. Once anyone is in court, he is in a public place. So you are at liberty to cover any court anytime.
Okay, very, very quickly, what would you say about the quality of reporters we have in the judiciary bits here in Nigeria?
It's getting better and better. And the longer people stay on that beat, the better they get. But let me also say that the judiciary in Nigeria is fast realizing that they need good reporters to convey the exact things that are happening in court. And so the National Judicial Institute in the last 4 years have been training journalists. I hope one day it would spread to court reporters outside Abuja. For now, in the last 4 years, the NJI has been organizing annual training. You know, their mandate is to train judicial officers and court staff. But now they have veered into training journalists too. And it helps to enhance the performance on the field.
There were some other issues we would have actually looked into, but because of time, but you actually covered them somehow in the course of answering the questions. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
It's been interesting. I've been talking with Femi Okeowo, head of NTA Judiciary Desk. And he has been talking to us about the media coverage of the judiciary. Thank you very much for being part of this segment.
Yeah, we're coasting home.
Yeah, my favorite phrase. As usual, we're coasting home, and it's good to know you were part of the program. Do join us again, same time next week. For now, we say bye.
On behalf of all of us, bye-bye.